Chapter 4. Other than the fabric you thought to ask for, I'm not sure how on earth we're going to find Kiana, Mira said, as soon as they were alone. Me neither, Saria replied. But do you think it's worth going around to the back door and seeing if Ulfa can pick up a scent? Better than nothing, but I imagine he won't pick up anything clear. We've come in through that door since. Saria sighed, thinking this new task of theirs sounded futile, but they walked around the other side of the house to the back door they'd broken in through previously. While standing there, Saria fetched out the pillowcase again and held it to Ulfa, being careful not to touch it directly. Here, Ulfa, see if you can find the person this belongs to. Where did she go from here? Ulfa tilted his head to one side for a moment, and Saria wondered if he'd help them or not, until eventually he came a little closer, stuck his nose close, and sniffed a few times. Not sure how to go about the next bit, Saria walked over to the door, but Ulfa already had his nose near the ground and was sniffing at something. He wandered along, following in a sort of line towards the path between this house and the next. After that, he went towards the temple and suddenly stopped. Saria watched as Ulfa sniffed at the air and around in a circle, before coming back and putting his nose to the ground again. Saria came closer and placed a hand on his back as he lifted his nose and whined. Any idea what that means? Mira asked. I guess Kiana went this far, and then there's no clear trail, either because her scent has been covered by more people traveling through here. Saria looked left and right, noticing that grass grew among cobblestones, and it didn't look like anything traveled this way much. Or because she got into a carriage. Mira finished for Saria as she came to stand beside her, but there was only one place a carriage was likely to have come from: the temple. Want to go visit Thorgrim? Yes, let's. I've not seen him in a few days, Saria replied, grinning. The three of them hurried towards the temple, Saria's mind already trying to imagine why the priest and Kiana might have gone somewhere together in a carriage. Had they been romantically involved? An elopement, perhaps? Or something far more sinister? There was only one way to find out, and Saria had to admit, the more she helped Mira look into this, the more interested she became. They were met at the open door of the temple by a sister they didn't recognize. We're looking for Thorgrim, Mira said, once again taking charge. Oh, he's not back yet, but we think he'll return soon. Would you like to wait for him? The sister asked. You could join us in prayers or meditation or simply enjoy the peace of the sanctuary. An adventurer will never say no to an opportunity for some peace and reflection, Mira replied, winking at Saria and grinning once the sister had turned to lead them to the sanctuary part of the temple. The temple was a marvel of nature, someone having diverted a stream, well, or natural fountain until it bubbled up into the temple's inner sanctuary. The sound of trickling water was instantly soothing to both Saria and Mira, the dragonborn sorceress instantly lifting her head and sighing. I'll let Thorgrim know you're resting in here when he arrives, the sister said. In the meantime, if you require refreshments or have any other needs, you can continue into yonder room, and a sister will assist you. Without saying another word, the sister went back the way she'd come, no doubt to be close to hand if anyone else came to the temple requesting aid. Thank you, Saria replied, finding she spoke more softly than normal, and didn't feel she could talk any louder. Even Ulfa remained quiet, following the pair of them as they went to the bench near the more lake-like area of the room. They sat down, both of them removing their boots to dangle their feet in the cool, running water. From where they sat, the roof, several panels of glass fixed into it, allowed the light to shine on them. The glass was patterned and colored with a variety of greens and blues, however giving them a warm glow rather than the harsh brightness of a fierce sun. In short, it was beautiful, and added even more to the peaceful, relaxing feeling of the room. No wonder Thorgrim likes coming here, Mira said. I'd want to spend a lot of time here too. I think they keep him busy, Sari replied, both of them talking more gently. But it is spectacular. I also think he likes helping people. It's easy to help nice people. Not always, but it definitely helps. They lapsed into silence again, both of them wiggling their feet slowly in the water, lost in their own thoughts.
It was touch and go.
Thorgrim's voice came through to the sanctuary from the door.
But they both survived, and he'll be a healthy, strong little boy in no time.
Oh, wonderful news.
I've told them both to get plenty of rest, and that I'd send another of you in a few hours to help around the house until the bleeding is stopped, and it's safe for her to be on her feet.
Understood. I'll go myself if none of the others want to go sooner,
the sister replied as their voices grew closer.
And you have guests?
Guests?
Thorgrim asked, as Mira and Saria turned towards the door. He came through and saw them, answering his own question.
What brings you two to the temple?
Sit down and join us. You look like you could use the rest, and we've got a few thoughts to run by you.
Mira patted the bench beside herself. Thorgrim sighed and nodded.
I'll fetch you a bite and something to drink,
the sister said, hurrying off before Thorgrim could object.
You'd best be out with it, and then if no one else comes to ask me to deal with something, I'll head up to the guild site with you both and we'll all have dinner under the stars. I've been missing that view, and got an experiment or two of my own to conduct.
We went to see Bernard, Mira said, and it's led to an interesting possibility.
Then tell me what you've discovered, and I'll see if I think the same result.
Thorgrim sat and sighed as he finished speaking, clearly weary, but smiling nonetheless. Mira started at the beginning of their day, mentioning how Bernard had been concerned for his sister and her behavior, then telling the rest far more succinctly than he had.
Then we think Ulfr managed to pick up on Kiana's scent, don't we, Saria?
Mira finished, clearly trying to hand over to her to finish their story.
He followed the trail until he reached one of the routes the carriage from here could have taken. Then he simply couldn't follow it any longer,
Saria said.
I see where you think this might lead,
Thorgrim replied, his eyebrows almost meeting in the middle as he thought through what they had not said but implied.
I can't think it likely. A priest of our order is held to the highest standards of goodness and decency. I can't think he'd have done anything untoward or been involved in the butler's schemes.
Perhaps not, Saria replied as Mira crossed her arms.
But the circumstances are suspicious. It is possible they both left on the same night, and simply because he was good-hearted, it does not mean he didn't travel with Kiana for some reason. We know no other particulars. He could have believed his actions honorable, or perhaps neither of them had a choice.
That I could grant as a possibility, and if it seems their fates may be linked, then it would be my duty to investigate. But I must insist that the other possibilities must be ruled out first. The sisters would not understand the difference if we accused their previous priest of fleeing in the night with a woman. It would hurt them to be presented the idea with no clear facts. I can't damage another's faith in that way.
I suppose we could visit Lady Killian and the mayor,
Mira said firmly, the breezy laughter gone from her voice.
But I reserve the right to prove you wrong, as I think you are. I'm inclined to think the simplest explanation, that the priest and Kiana fell in love and ran off together. I don't even see anything wrong with it.
You may not see anything careless in abandoning your post as the town's healer and caregiver, as well as the shepherd of souls, but I do.
Thorgrim spoke louder, his voice deepening.
And I will insist on his good name being unsullied while nothing clear is known. Do you also say the poor mute servant in the butler's household might know something?
Bernard seemed to think she might. She was already awake the night Kiana vanished, Saria said, trying to defuse the situation.
And she cannot tell you what happened in another way? Can she not write it down?
She doesn't have the gift of reading or writing. We already attempted to talk to her about the matter, Saria replied.
Then I will ask one of the sisters to attempt to help her and instruct her. One in particular has some skill with teaching a few of the children, including the mayor's kin. Perhaps she can shed more light as well.
Good. Then we will go see the mayor and Lady Killen.
Mira got up, clearly in a huff, as one of the sisters returned. It was a sister that Saria recognized, one who had remained silent the last time they had been in the temple. She carried food and drink for one, placing the tray before Thorgrim without a word, much as she had done on a previous occasion as well. Mira hurried away without even a backward glance, and Saria followed, although she felt a little reluctant to do so. Given the atmosphere between Mira and Thorgrim and the clear disagreement, Saria felt awkward. She wanted to find a way forward that didn't put the two of them at odds with each other, but equally, she feared that Mira was right. It had sounded as if Bernard had been close to his sister, as well as fairly observant and worried about her. If she'd merely been having a relationship with the priest, Saria was fairly sure Bernard would have known, and at least had an idea the two might want to be together. Something else must have happened.
Let's go visit Lady Killen first, Mira said. I think we had an official invitation from her after saving the town, and I'd love to see what her house is like.
Not thinking the order of the two people mattered, Saria nodded. Already, she wasn't sure she even wanted to know, but equally, she didn't want to leave Mira alone.